Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Softrax Executive Webcast. All participants are in a listen-only mode. For opening remarks and introductions, I would like to turn the conference over to Mr. Bob O'Connor, President and CEO of Softrax Corporation. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone to our webcast today. We appreciate you joining us. Softrax is the leading provider of revenue management solutions to hundreds of companies, and some of them I see when I look at the registration list are joining us today, so welcome to our customers and welcome to everyone. We have a few hundred registrants for this webcast, which indicates how much executives want to hear about today's topic from our speaker, and that's Scott Areglado. I hope I pronounced that right, Scott. I think I did. From Amicas, who is on today's webcast to make his presentation entitled Best Practices in Billing and Revenue Recognition for Software Companies. And Scott will be available for questions at the conclusion of his remarks. So let's take a look at the introduction quickly. As I said, Scott will make his presentation after I speak a little bit, and we're also joined by Josh Rothman, who is the Director of Product Management of Softrax, who will take us through a solutions overview. So looking at the agenda, I'm just going to spend a few minutes on Softrax and how we play in today's topic of best practices in billing and revenue recognition. I'll turn it over to Scott for his presentation, and then Scott will turn it over to Josh, or turn it back to me, and I'll turn it to Josh to make his presentation. And we always leave time for questions and answers, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with our webcast format, we do leave time at the end to ask questions of any of our speakers. And all of this time, including these questions, we should be done in about 45 minutes to an hour. So to ask questions, we don't open the lines because there's just too many people. But what we do is give you the ability, if you look at your console, there's an Ask a Question feature, and please click on that and type in the questions. And I'll be reading all of your questions during Scott's and Josh's presentations, and I will ask them at the conclusion of that, and we'll get through as many as we can. The most commonly asked question is, can I get a copy of the slides? And the answer is yes, but we do make you work a little bit. And if you look at the slide now, we do ask for about 1 minute of your time to give us some feedback. We listen to this feedback and therefore and structure future webcasts accordingly. So at the conclusion of the webcast, your browser will be automatically directed to an online survey page. We'd like you to fill that out. As a result of that, you'll be able to download the slides. You'll get an email link if you want to share this with anybody else as we have recorded this. And if you're a customer and would like to sit in Scott's shoes today or another day in making a presentation like this, please let us know as well. So let me just spend a few minutes, as I said, telling you about Softrax at a high level. We develop enterprise software that manage all aspects of the company's billing and revenue cycle. And throughout the U.S. and throughout the world, hundreds of companies from many different industries use our software to manage their complex billing, their complex revenue recognition, revenue reporting, and forecasting needs. As you may know, Softrax started by selling and serving the complex needs of the software industry, and we're the clear leader in that market today. And as you can see, we have grown to address the complex billing and revenue needs of many other industries. I have a copy of the latest CFO magazine in my hand, and on the front page it says, "Risks for the new year, revenue recognition may spell trouble for more companies." Just if we didn't need any more news like that at the beginning of the year. And inside, the article is entitled, "Why VSOE Spells Trouble." Well, most people on this call know that VSOE spells trouble and is one of the four-letter words in revenue recognition. But clearly, it's very much revenue recognition continues to be top of mind for financial executives in many industries. A couple of studies by RevenueRecognition.com and IDC show some interesting data. In one study here, 92% of public companies are using spreadsheets still, although most are trying to move off of them to enterprise systems using spreadsheets to manage their revenue. And this finding correlates to the second study here, where it shows that companies are struggling to get accurate revenue figures in a timely manner. 57% of public companies cannot finalize their revenue numbers within their monthly close process, and sometimes those are delayed up to 3 weeks, mostly because of the complexity of the transactions, as well as the fact the information that's required to accurately recognize revenue is not available. Many RevenueRecognition.com and IDC collaborate on many studies. All of them are at the revenuerecognition.com website, which I encourage you to view for your own interest, as well as thank you for participating in the studies that they put out. Now let's take a look at the operating challenges that CFOs, controllers, and other financial professionals face. They certainly face operational challenges, and Scott's going to talk about his business, which is a licensed business, maintenance, and renewal business, with a lot of business coming from renewals, which is certainly very common in the software industry. But many other companies that we deal with are dealing with different business models. They may be a subscription-based or transaction-based, on-demand business model across multiple industries, and those business models are proliferating and getting more complex for sure. And companies also need to face, simultaneously they need to deal with compliance of revenue recognition issues and Sarbanes-Oxley issues. And on the far right, everyone is under more pressure to improve their financial reporting, its accuracy, its timeliness, and its visibility. So financial professionals today don't lack for challenges. However, we see many companies who are trying to address these challenges with a host of disconnected and manual systems that frequently create roadblocks to operational efficiencies. And if this looks like your business, you're not alone, certainly. And some of these business implications that are listed here of these disconnected and manual approaches are listed below, including those that significantly affect cash, profitability, operating efficiency, and overall company performance. Our applications are closely aligned with the previously mentioned slides and challenges that companies are facing today. Our applications, and Josh will spend more time on these, are billing and operation applications that handle things such as contract management and renewals and complex billing, deep and really unparalleled expertise in terms of revenue recognition. You see the VSOE word there. And analytical applications that are needed to help executives improve their visibility and help them make strategic decisions. And all of this unique functionality can be licensed individually or in really two major offerings. The first is, and Scott's a customer of our first suite here of applications for certain industries such as software and others listed there, managing the entire billing and revenue management cycle of those companies. And the second offering that we have is for those companies who have already deployed large ERP applications, such as SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, and others. There's still a great need to manage revenue, and those systems really don't do that. So our application there provides very robust functionality for revenue recognition, allocation, scheduling, forecasting, whether the business has been booked or whether it's just forecasted business, and very highly configurable for different industries. And what we're trying to do certainly is help companies increase their revenue, reduce their operating costs, all the while complying with Sarbanes-Oxley issues as well as revenue recognition guidelines. And today's topic, as we mentioned earlier, is billing and revenue management for software companies, and for Scott to share his experiences with that. That model, there's complex licensing involved, a lot of maintenance business, and the issues on the right, as you see, are some of the things that Scott's going to talk about. And as I said earlier, there are many other business models that other companies and other customers employ, and including SaaS and others. And we have done similar case studies, webcasts, and written case studies that we'd invite you to read and at our website at softrax.com. So, without further ado, let me introduce Scott Areglado, and he has a CPA with 20 years of experience. He's been with the company that he's talking about today at Amicas for 2 years. He's worked over his 20 years experience as a CPA and for both private and public companies. He's done some consulting work with Sarbanes-Oxley, so he's certainly the right man for the right person for the presentation today. And so, Scott, if you'll load up your slides, and we'll if you could start when you're ready. And welcome.
So thank you, Bob. I appreciate the nice words in the introduction. I'm going to talk a little bit about complex billing and renewal revenue. As Bob said, we are a software company. We're focused primarily on the medical and radiology business. medical imaging. We have a number of products, a wide range of configurations, and we provide an end-to-end solution. So we sell software, we sell components that support the software, we do customization, training, support, and maintenance. So we have a lot of volume, a number of customers, a large base of renewal revenue, and we rely heavily on Softrax during our accounting close. As I said, we're in the medical imaging business. We serve a number of different markets, but we have a wide variety of products, and I think this kind of helps you see some of the complexity. We have here 6 various product lines, all of which need to be reported separately in our financials because we have product managers that are tied to those lines, so we need financial reporting behind that, especially revenue, cost, and expenses. And Softrax helps us with the revenue and cost side of that equation. So our licensing is typically perpetual licensing. We sell the software, all of the components. We will sell servers, CD burners, all of the things that support the installation for the radiologist, and a lot of the back office components as well. So it's varied in the types of products we have, and the tracking for those, and the order entry for that all runs through Softrax. We have the maintenance that follows those products as well. So I talked about the third-party software and hardware. So we take the order, and then we enter that one order with all of the components into Softrax, and then we use that to track the maintenance, service, and the license. Our billing for these products encompasses a lot of line items. We have anywhere up to 25,000 individual unique line items that we're billing per quarter in our maintenance. We have customers that receive pages anywhere up to 15 or more. So it kind of gives you a sense of the scale and the complexity of our billing. When we run the bills, we need to do a review process, and we're able to customize our cycles within Softrax so that we can analyze our different revenue cycles and product cycles. So we have a couple different lines of business, and those renewals behave differently for our business, and we want to analyze them differently. And so we're able to run those renewals in different components so that when we're looking at it, we know it's all of the same type of business in our renewal. And again, that helps us validate both the trends and helps us with our forecasting and planning during the close. We are able to run the renewals and then do selective audits on our billing, look for trends, look for unusual exceptions, and then complete the billing process within Softrax so that we don't have to do a lot of manual spreadsheet work like we used to do to analyze our billing. The other thing we've been able to do is we do milestone billing. So when we sell our large system outside of the renewals, we'll have the licenses, the hardware, the services, and we're gonna submit that whole invoice to the customer, 20% at 30 days of after shipment, 20% at go live, and the remainder upon acceptance, or similar terms like that. And so we're able to manage that billing for the installation at the customer site through the milestone billing, and it keeps track of what's been billed, what invoices have been generated, how much against the milestones been billed. And again, we use that both on the receivables and billing side, as well as helping us with our revenue recognition, so we know where we stand for invoicing versus deferred revenue versus our unbilled revenue. So it's very important for us to keep track of our revenue cycle and to know what's been billed and unbilled, and we use Softrax milestone reporting for that. Just finishing up on the billing, we've improved our billing accuracy. We run our billing department with 2 people that processes cash receipts and billing, so we've been able to handle a large volume of orders with as lean as you can be when you're running an overhead department. I think the best feature that we use, again speaking about the volume of renewals and installations, is the renewal manager and the installations module. We bill our customers 45 days in advance. So in our January billing cycle, we're billing customers for support and maintenance covering the March 08 timeframe. So not only does the renewals, the deferred revenue is critical for us because of the way our billing practice. And it all links through and we don't have to manage it, it just happens. So the information for our renewals is available and it's in Softrax. We can look at any particular customer and see what product is on what renewal cycle and when it's going to bill. And there's a number of other features. The system can generate pro forma invoices. Because of our volume, we don't use that, but it is helpful if you want to understand what they're going to invoice. So there are times when we'll use that inquiry feature to manage our renewal cycles. The pricing is all contained within the renewal cycle. We don't have to, it just carries over month, and we don't have to look at it. We're comfortable that that the rates are correct and just reset for every cycle date. Our model is typically an annual maintenance, but most of our customers prefer to be billed monthly for that. So we have a lot of transactions related to that monthly billing. Going over to deferred revenue, I'm kind of hard to speak about renewals without talking about deferred revenue. But some of the other features in deferred revenue that are critical for us is forecasting our revenue. So based on what's in deferred, we're able to tell what's going to recognize out over the cycles and months in advance. Again, I speak to the number of line items. Each one of those line items has its own deferred revenue schedule. We couldn't manage that in a spreadsheet. It would be impossible, and we would probably have Sarbanes control issues as well as revenue recognition issues if we weren't able to have that contained within the database and the system using Softrax. Again, speaking to compliance and Sarbanes-Oxley, for you public companies, it's near and dear to everyone's heart. The cost of compliance and the scrutiny that the auditors have on our transactions has increased greatly. And one of the things we're able to do is we're able to selectively test. Auditors don't spend a lot of time on our maintenance renewals. They rely heavily on our system controls and the fact that it's all contained within the database and has renewable cycles. And we're able to leverage the abilities of the Softrax database for our maintenance cycle to ease our Sarbanes compliance in that revenue cycle. So the benefits of Softrax, kind of recapping, the improvements that we've seen is that we're able to get our billing out on a timely basis. We're able to meet our commitments to our customers. Our renewal process is automated, so we rely heavily on the fact that our customers are going to get billed every single month and that we're not going to lose billing someplace. So we're able to improve our revenue management. The deferred revenue is allocated and recognized and forecasted appropriately. Again, critical for our close and for our our revenue accuracy. And that we have the high volume of complex transactions, and we're able to manage it with a lean staff.
All right, great, Scott. Thank you very much for that. I think, again, you're here for questions after Josh's presentation. I want to remind people that, to ask a question, please feel free to do that. On your console, see the Ask a Question button, and I've been reading those during Scott's presentation, and I'll continue to do that during Josh's presentation. So if you want to ask Scott or Josh a question at the end of Josh's presentation, please do that now. And thank you very much, Scott. That was great and very helpful, and we know you're not going anywhere in terms of answering people's questions. So Josh Rothman is our Director of Product Management at Softrax, has an extraordinary amount of responsibilities, and really one of our great employees. So, Josh, welcome, and we look forward to your presentation.
Great. Thank you, Bob. Scott has done a really good job here of explaining how Amicas has addressed its business questions and issues using Softrax. What I'd like to do at this point is broaden the scope a little bit more and look at some of the key challenges and questions that companies often face that we encounter. Questions such as, how do I automate business operations billing based on complex license agreements in situations where those license agreements include license, service, and maintenance products, all of which may require separate revenue and billing treatments? How can I use billing as a means of improving customer satisfaction, whether that's in terms of delivering the right bill to customers or the right formatted bill to customers? How do I efficiently manage maintenance and renewals? Make sure those maintenance contracts are properly maintained. Make sure that the renewals, as they come up, aren't being missed and there's no revenue falling through the cracks. Additionally, how do I efficiently manage, how do I improve my deferred revenue processes to make sure that my deferred revenue is both being scheduled properly and being recognized at the appropriate periods of time? And then from a compliance and internal controls perspective, we're talking about compliance with key regulatory and accounting guidelines such as SOP 97.2, 98.9, 81.1, et cetera. And then on the control side, obviously, as Scott made fine mention of, implementing the internal controls required to support some of the requirements that exist with Sarbanes-Oxley. And then lastly, and quite importantly, how can I report, forecast, and plan for the future? It's one thing to report on your current business. It's another thing to actually be able to take action upon the information that you have to make future decisions and plans to have more of a forward-looking view of things. Now, what we find today is most of the companies that we encounter have a topography or a set of business processes that look very much like this, where on one side you have a CRM application, a professional services automation application, maybe a web storefront that's feeding transactions into a series of disconnected processes, whether they're manual processes, whether they're handled in spreadsheets, manual decisions, paper files, whatever it may be. Issues such as managing license terms, often done through paper, and understanding how those license terms really affect processing of revenue and billing throughout a life cycle. Things like project schedules and status that might be managed offline, but ultimately have critical importance as they might drive revenue recognition. Certainly in the case of percentage of completion may drive revenue recognition. VSOE, certainly a touch point for today's discussion, the application of VSOE values in understanding how revenue should be redistributed, whether it's to support SOP 97.2 or the residual method of SOP 98.9. Additionally, we're talking about managing your deferred revenue and recognition, quite often done through spreadsheets, where not only the scheduling is sometimes suspect to issues because it's done offline through spreadsheets, but also the timing of the recognition sometimes can fall into question. Something that's very important that Scott brought up as well is managing customer entitlements, managing where products are installed, which versions are deployed, what contracts are associated with those entitlements. And associated with that is really the management of the maintenance renewals and the maintenance contracts that need to be renewed and need to be renewed in a fashion so that they don't slip through the cracks. And ultimately, making sure that invoicing activity as well as recognition activity flows appropriately into a general ledger, which tends to be done through manual entries into the general ledger. So these are sort of the common sort of traits that we see when we speak with many companies today. Now, with Softrax, what's different is we're really talking about a integrated and automated solution versus more of a fractured type environment. Softrax really is designed to integrate with those inbound applications, whether it be a CRM, professional services, automation, web store, etc. And the idea being that we use and leverage our Softrax integration architecture to take this inbound information and process it primarily we'll start by talking about our order management system, which really allows for a lot of flexibility in setting the parameters for which billing and recognition activity happens within our system. The order processing system itself gives a lot of flexibility as far as how we configure products, define things like bill of materials, which pricing should be applied in certain circumstances. And ultimately, that order processing information and that critical setup that occurs there feeds down into a couple of key areas, one of which is into the installed base management area, where we're able to track all these various entitlements. And as part of that, we're also tracking the renewal and maintenance contract information such that we can drive subsequent renewals as maintenance terms expire and need to be renewed. At the same time, the order management is driving billing activity in an automated fashion such that billing can occur that not only bills the correct amount, but bills using the correct terms and is delivered in the correct format to your customers. And then on sort of the back end from a revenue accounting perspective, we need to again talk about some of the VSOE and the revenue redistribution capabilities that exist, enabling companies to set up multiple VSOE price books that can have these VSOE values applied in the processing of 97.2 and 98.9 based revenue allocation transactions. And then ultimately, from a revenue accounting perspective, we're certainly talking about the management of deferred revenue. In cases where revenue needs to be deferred, maybe over the term of a maintenance agreement, being able to not only automatically schedule that revenue driven by this processing and the settings for the processing, but ultimately controlling the recognition, ensuring that the recognition occurs at the right point in time and happens automatically. And then on the back end, this revenue activity, this billing activity, feeds into the general ledger, whether it's the Softrax general ledger or whether, again, we're leveraging our integration architecture and infrastructure to feed another general ledger application. Now, threaded throughout this, really at the top of this particular diagram, is really the reporting and analysis capabilities that are really integral to the end-to-end process that give you both a tactical and a strategic view of the information as it flows within the system. Gives you the ability through a browser-based access point to get detailed understanding into tactical elements such as individual order information, renewals information, installed base or entitlement information, or something strategic as far as revenue forecast or projected revenue for a particular product line. All very configurable and very personalized. So this really depicts the Softrax integrated and automated solution that it really replaces more of the disconnected system that we showed in the previous slide. When it comes to order management, Softrax is designed to really meet the needs of complex billing and revenue recognition processes. I think Scott did a good job of explaining how Amicas uses some of these capabilities. But whether it's tracking multiple orders under the same master agreement or defining processes at a particular line item level, whether it's new sales or updates or upgrades, or processing complex product bundles, the Softrax order management system is really geared towards handling the types of complexities that you find in the software license business, allowing you to handle the pricing calculations needed based on certain licensing types and user options. So there's a lot of flexibility within the order management capability really to support your business needs, whether it's the support for unlimited ship-to or bill-to contacts, or it's user-defined order types, et cetera. Lots of different parameters that ultimately go to drive the processing of data throughout those follow-on processes, whether it's the revenue management or billing processes that will follow. The order management system is also intimately tied into, in addition to the billing and the revenue recognition processes, it's tied directly into the installed base repository, which is where we, again, store the customer entitlement data, the contract-related data. That is so critical to understand where products have been deployed, contractual terms of a particular product, license options, etc. All those things that are tracked, such that we can get a better sense of the items that are being sold and where they're being managed based on the model that makes sense for your business. Now, Softrax also provides some browser-based capabilities to really look at this tactical information and be able to extend this information to your sales or your services or help desk users in such a way that they can get a solid snapshot of some of the tactical activity that occurs. That's certainly not limited to order management, but this would give the ability to, in a read-only fashion, view orders for a particular customer, the types of product purchased by the customer, and this obviously extends to billing as well. If we turn the page here to look at some of the billing capabilities, Softrax really enables you to completely automate your billing processes for your license and maintenance-based business. It fully integrates with the order management system, with the price books, and really with the core revenue management capabilities, giving you lots of flexibility to bill your customers in the fashion that you need to, whether it's according to specific billing terms, whether it's according to particular billing dates, or whether it's in a particular billing format that's appropriate for the customers that you're looking to target. Now, one of the important capabilities that actually Scott made mention of is some of the milestone billing capabilities. In addition to more of a standard license billing type model, the billing within Softrax provides you milestone billing capabilities, which would allow you to schedule milestone billing dates to generate invoices based on critical contract dates. Good examples are some of the ones Scott mentioned, whether it's an installation, whether it's an acceptance, items like that are critical to driving the billing activity. And also, importantly, Softrax also gives you the ability to tie this billing directly to the revenue recognition, which allows you to see the revenue schedules and the revenue activity that's associated with all the billing details. When we talk about installed base management within the Softrax solution, we're talking about a full contract repository that really contains all the customer-related entitlements, whether it's the support for tracking or management of the contract details based on locations, divisions, platforms, etc. The install base management capability allows you really to define a model or select from a variety of models that we provide that typically mirror models of software companies as far as how they track entitlements. And we provide lots of flexibility with regards to being able to configure fields and values that really make the entitlement repository specific to your business and your business models, which is a very important point. Along with this, we're tracking, and certainly Scott may mention of this, we're maintaining an audit to track the changes that occur throughout the process as versions change, et cetera, as customers upgrade. We want to make sure we have a full recording or audit of the activity that occurs. Now, this install-based management area, again, can be sourced and is sourced from the order processing function as well. So a lot of this information defaults in from the order and is tied to the order. And then additionally, the install-based management area is where we have this critical link to our maintenance agreements that we're going to use for renewals, and we'll talk about here in a moment. Whereas I mentioned in the order processing, there's an ability to access via a browser-based query tool all this information for read-only purposes, whether it's for your help desk or your services folks. This is another area where that capability is really important. Understanding what your customers have installed, where, which versions, very important to your extended users within your enterprise. So if we turn our attention to renewals processing, we're really talking about being able to fully automate your renewal processes to leverage information that's stored in your customer repository in this entitlement database. So what this gives you the ability to do is you store your maintenance agreements, and automatically we have the ability to run a renewal manager capability, which can not only identify which maintenance agreements are up for renewal, but gives you the ability to set all sorts of parameters that are needed to drive the renewals process, whether it's price increases, whether it's upgrades or change in terms. One of the important things to note here in the first bullet is the ability to co-terminate across products and services, whether it's by company or division, whatever it might be. The key there being in cases where you have maintenance agreements that span different periods of time with different end dates, there's the ability to co-term them with a single end date, which is something that certainly lots of customers want, and certainly a lot of software companies want as well, to streamline the whole maintenance process and simplify things. In addition to being able to determine the parameters for these renewal processes, you also have the ability within our applications to generate quotes for pending renewals, so that you can send a quote out to a customer when a maintenance agreement is due to be renewed, and then based on how that's processed, you can choose then to go ahead and directly create an invoice from the renewals package automatically. And that's, again, where Scott made reference to the fact that their business process at Amicas is to do the renewal invoices directly versus essentially doing the quote as which would be more of a two-step process. From the renewals, we also obviously have a tie directly back into our revenue management capability, where the forecast revenue that we have for a maintenance period of time will be reflected in our deferred revenue schedules that will get created to cover the newly renewed maintenance agreements. So one other twist that's certainly worth pointing out, too, is we can leverage our analytics capabilities that we provide and some of our forecasting capabilities that we provide through some of our business intelligence offerings to be able to actually look at your maintenance renewals and forecast maintenance revenue based on things like projected maintenance renewal rates, which products we expect to renew, such that you can actually take more of a forward-looking view and make business projections based on what your revenue will look like if a certain rate of renewals occurs. Revenue management, is certainly Bob highlighted, is really at the heart of the Softrax application. The revenue accounting and the automated revenue scheduling, the revenue allocation, revenue recognition really represents the heart of the application, and it certainly is a key in that it's baked within our system. leading from order management to invoicing to the renewals processing. We're talking about the ability to manage revenue, whether it's detailed revenue schedules that might have a specific start and end date, a projected recognition date versus an actual date. All the recognition can be automatically processed based on these schedules that are created for your deferred revenue. When we talk about the complexities of revenue redistribution and VSOE, certainly that's absolutely essential these days. And we provide the ability to, within our system, have multiple VSOE price books based potentially on region or company, whatever the parameters that make sense. We can process multiple VSOE price books to drive the redistribution of revenue, the allocation of revenue based on SOP 97.2, or if you're using 98.9 in the residual method. Then also, any of the processing that we're talking about from a revenue management perspective is something that we can automatically drive journal entry activity, whether it's from the invoice or the revenue schedule. Any recognition, any billing activity that occurs can automatically be fed into a journal entry into a GL system, whether it's again the Softrax GL or another GL system. We can also maintain accurate recognition status with detailed audit trails, and Scott mentioned the importance of detailed audit trails and tracking essentially all the activity that occurs, whether it's the scheduling activity or the recognition activity that happens during the life of a particular revenue schedule. Scott actually has also pointed out that from a processing of milestones perspective, when we have a milestone billing use case, as they do at Amicas, there's also the ability to separate the billing activity from the recognition activity, which really is also at the heart of the system, that they're two integral parts of our system, but they're also can be disconnected in the sense that they can be scheduled separately from each other. One last point, I have referenced 81.1 and contract accounting. The application also provides the ability to support some of the contract accounting capabilities in implementing percentage of completion to drive revenue recognition within our system based on the agreements that you have that might be driven by 81.1 processing. When we talk about reporting and analytics, there really are three key flavors of this, and they probably fall into two main categories. One is really tactical reporting and tactical decision making, and the other is strategic. When we talk about tactical, we're talking about really an unlimited number of crystal reports, hundreds of crystal reports that we provide out of the box, and certainly can be extended and further configured, that really provide key operational information, transactional related information throughout the whole process cycle, whether they're billing related, revenue related reports, etc. There also is this online query capability, this read-only query capability that I've made reference to a couple times, that really represents the other piece of the tactical arm from a reporting perspective, that gives you and your extended users the ability to access in a view-only fashion much of the data, and really most of the data that we're talking about here, whether it's billing data, customer data, order data, renewals data, installed base data, to really push this information out to your enterprise, allow them to query that information, and answer the tactical questions that they need to do their jobs on a day-to-day basis. So the tactical piece is certainly critical. And that's certainly something that we encourage and look to extend out into the enterprise. When we talk about more of the strategic angle, this is where we really talk about some of our revenue analytics capabilities through our business intelligence capabilities to be able to actually look at your data, look at your revenue, and make actionable decisions, being able to slice and dice your revenue to understand how much revenue you're getting from a particular product line in a certain region, and on the fly creating these views that are customized and specific to you. That's something that you can do in an ad hoc fashion that doesn't require a specific report to be created per se for that. So giving you the analysis capabilities you need to make critical decisions. Layered on top of that is really the ability to extend this information yet further to make analytical type decisions, to perform what-if scenarios on renewals, as a good example, to project renewal rates, as I mentioned previously. So what we found after the functional overview is really our customers have found that the solution that I really just described tends to provide a really strong ROI, and sometimes an ROI within months of implementation. Now, this ROI can be manifested in many different ways, whether it's finding renewal revenue that was falling through cracks because of manual and disconnected offline processes, whether it's providing a detailed audit for your revenue recognition and your deferred revenue schedules to the auditors, whether it's increased customer satisfaction and collections success due to your ability to present the correct invoices in the appropriate format to your customers, or whether it's the reduced hours or potentially greater capability of your business to support more business with the existing staff by implementing a single integrated solution like Softrax. This presentation today was largely focused on a portion of the Softrax solution that supports a license-based software business model in terms of managing billing, revenue management, renewals, etc. Softrax also provides key functionality that allows you to support other business models, whether it be software as a service, on-demand, or subscription billing. For more information about any of our other solutions for really any of these other business models or industries, I'd encourage you to visit our website at www.softrax.com.
Hey, Josh, on that point, if you could, because we did get some questions on that, if you could just spend a moment on how a transactional billing model would be different than, again, you're exactly straight on. So to our audience, what Josh said, that we were covering Amicas and their license and maintenance model, and we do these all the time, so that's today's topic. But Josh, in a couple minutes or so, could you tell us more about transaction-based billing, just at a high level, how that might be handled? Because some people did ask for that, and if they came today expecting a lot on that, at least let's give them what you can.
Okay, sure. Yeah, when we talk about either subscription or transaction-based billing, and that might be the type of business model you fall into with a SaaS model, if that's the case we're talking about. We're talking really about a different type of capability that we offer. And really what it provides is the ability to set up really contracts within our system that really define processing that allow you to specify how your services might be billed over time. Now, a good way to look at this is to think about it as sort of the phone bill type model when you're getting your phone bill from a provider, where we need to be able to support, and we do support the ability to have sort of a monthly fee, a monthly charge that will be billed regardless of the level of service that's provided. In other cases, there may be other additional layers where there may be transactional charges that also occur that have specific pricing rules, and that's really one of the key elements to this, Bob, is the ability to set complex pricing rules to be able to support a lot of these capabilities, whether it's a per price per range for a transaction, or whether it's based on minimums, the ability to price individual transactions as well as these monthly fees, the ability to present these complex billing models on a single bill is one of the key capabilities that we have to support a subscription and transaction billing model, so that you can have the transactions, you can have the base fees as well. And the key is that we can allow you to set up very much like a revenue schedule might be set up to defer revenue over time. We can have a billing schedule set up that defines not only the schedule on which we should bill customers, but also the contract terms that apply to it, specify the pricing parameters, and again the elements that will go into determining what the bill should look like. And then separate from that is a schedule for recognition, which might not always and frequently does not marry up with the billing schedule and schedule of activity that occurs for it. So we offer a solution that really provides for all that billing and revenue management to support the complex billing of a transaction-based billing model, as well as the revenue management capability.
Okay, thanks. And again, for people who logged on today expecting that, we do have other webcasts on that done in the past and certainly will be in the future. So, again, if you'd like to ask some questions, we do have some time left, and we'll switch to that now. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. And please continue to feel free to send us your questions. Scott, hopefully you're still there.
I'm here.
And some people are blown away, frankly, by the size of your renewal invoices and or just invoices being 15 pages and things like that. So there was some confusion about it. So you're renewing the contracts annually but billing monthly. Is that what you mentioned? And
Our renewals are based on an annual renewal. However, most of our customers, for their own cash flow, want to pay their bills monthly. So we bill 45 days in advance for the monthly fee.
Do you offer any kind of financial incentives if they want to pay yearly or
no?
In advance? No. Okay.
That's why they all want to pay monthly.
That was kind of a process question. So,
right.
So if someone owes you X amount of dollars annually, the contract is renewed annually, but typically paid monthly. And
correct.
You're sending out bills. You're renewing the contract annually, and you're sending the monthly bills after they renew it. Yeah,
our contracts are what a lot of people refer to as evergreen, so they just continue to renew until the customer tells us they don't want it anymore.
Okay, and in 15-page bills, is that because of the extent of the products, or
that's correct?
You've got these servers and everything else on there. Is that because you just have so many line items? Is that what's driving that?
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. So our solution will consist of servers, workstations, software, third-party software. Our software solution can comprise. If we sell a risk packs, Vision Series financials, and RadStream package, we're going to have all of those components that are going to get recurring renewal maintenance that we need to bill for. And a pack solution is multiple components of individual software that's configured to meet our customers' needs. So when I say this complexity, we really do have a lot of different configurations that we need to track, and there's just no way we could manage it if we didn't have the renewal manager and installations.
Does the question that just came in, and it's topical here, do your monthly charges on your maintenance charges, do they change, or are they really just 1/12 of the annual charge? They change on a monthly basis. I know they change annually, but is it possible that they change monthly?
No. In fact, okay. I mean, for VSOE, our maintenance is we keep it relatively consistent. It's always a percentage of this.
Okay, so it's changed on the contract renewal, but then it's just spread. It's billed over 12 months. And certainly, back to Josh's point about transactional-based billing and that model, where a lot of our customers do, then those are very flexible and very frequent. That those charges are changing based on usage per month and things like that. Josh, hopefully you've caught your breath, but a lot of people have questions about. I have a certain financial system. I have Great Plains or other applications as a financial system. How and can I use Softrax? Other people had on the front end, when you put up one of your slides, it had kind of CRM on the front end. Excuse me, some people had, I have certain CRM applications, and whether it's Salesforce.com or others that were listed by name. So how does that all work?
Yeah, okay, Bob. So again, we provide, as part of our overall Softrax solution, integration infrastructure that really is designed. The application itself is designed to integrate with these other applications. Certainly, it's an assumption to take a CRM system as an example. It's certainly assumed that in a lot of cases, customers and contacts and entities such as that are not going to be necessarily originated from within our system. They may be sourced from an external system, Salesforce.com, et cetera. So we've got lots of experience, and many of our customers, again, the same industry, the same types of companies as you, have these needs to integrate these elements. And so we leverage our XML-based integration infrastructure to really take these feeds of information to leverage the information in these external systems. Certainly on the front end, CRMs, whether we're talking about quotes coming in, whether it's customers, contacts, et cetera. And then on the back end, when we talk about a financials application, again, our application is built with the assumption that you may want to use, or you may already have your own financial accounting application in play. And so our system provides the ability to create journal entries and really provides a mechanism through the integration architecture to have those exported to a external system such that the journal entries can be processed in summary and detail in the external system, and then essentially they're stamped back in our system to indicate that they've been exported and processed to an external system. So certainly something we do very frequently. It's more the norm than the exception.
Right. It should be noted that many of those CRM vendors and financial vendors are actually our customers too, that use our applications internally. So certainly, from an integration perspective, that's something that they've done as well as other customers have done as well. So hopefully that's clear to people that from an integration perspective, and there's certainly a lot more detail around that, but that serves us for now. Scott, you talked about renewal billing and deferred revenue. Just one more time about kind of the relationship between those two, and how they're separate but related. That would be helpful for people to understand.
So, our renewal billing, again, because we bill 45 days in advance, our renewal billing is critical for our deferred revenue. So all of our renewal billing goes directly to deferred revenue, and then will get recognized out. So, a majority of our cycles are monthly, but we do have some quarterly and annual cycles. And when those get billed, those obviously go into deferred revenue and then get spread out over 12 months or 3 months, depending on the cycle. And then the other thing is on the monthly cycles, our cycle dates start at different times during the month, so we will cross months on our revenue cycle. So our cycle date will run from March 8th to April 7th, and we need to have 7 days appear in April and 23 days appear in March. And again, our templates and the underlying revenue recognition in Softrax supports that, so you don't have to do the apportionments and the calculations.
Thank you. In this model, Josh, in this business model, again, we're talking about it now, is the license and maintenance model, which is the focus of this webcast. Frequently, people have a professional services element to it, Josh, like we do. And we did get some questions about, how does that all tie in from a solutions perspective, and what implications might it have with respect to rev rec issues.
Right. So I mean, that's certainly another frequently integrated application, whether it's our own PSA capabilities. Softrax provides professional services automation capabilities, or whether it's another professional services automation capability, whether it's the billing activity that needs to be fed into our system for services-related invoicing, or in some cases, we're talking about driving revenue recognition activity based on information that's fed by a professional services automation system. Frequently, we'll see customers that will actually calculate percentage of completion in an external system for a particular project that is tied to revenue recognition of a contract within the Softrax solution. And what that gives us the ability to do is actually take those percentages calculated in the external system, apply them to revenue within our system such that we're driving revenue recognition based on the percentage of completion tenants, again, based on contract accounting in SOP 81.1.
All right, great. Well, thank you both very much. We're up against the clock here. Scott, thank you very much for sharing your experiences and insight with your colleagues. People like to hear from people who've walked a mile in their shoes or before or after they do as they think about systems and best practices and processes and things like that. You're nice to take the time out from your busy schedule to prepare and participate today, so thank you very much. Josh, as always, thank you very much for conveying some of the product details as it relates to this particular business model for software companies. Thanks to the audience for your attendance and for your questions. I'm sorry we didn't get to all of them, but that would have been impossible. But we do like to follow up on those, and we certainly will. I will remind people, as you look at your screen now, that you can get copies of the slides and take the time. You'll see the URL there to follow that and fill out the questionnaire. It won't take longer than a minute. That gets you access to the slides, the on-demand recording, and things like that. That's very helpful to us. I would also encourage you to continue to view our website, Softrax.com and RevenueRecognition.com. RevenueRecognition.com recently started a forum section for people to ask others questions and interact with your colleagues online to share best practices. So another feature of RevenueRecognition.com that's relatively new. And please stay tuned to look at your emails and other invitations for these kind of events and other educational forums that we may have with respect to these topics. Again, Scott, thank you very much, and Josh, thank you very much. Goodbye now.